Hi, everyone. Welcome to Picture This Film Reviews. If you are watching, you are currently watching our Thursday episode where we review our categories that we pick. And this week we are finishing off with my pick as favorite directors, which is Hayao Miyazaki, his film in 2001, Spirited Away. Before I get carried away, my name is Cayla.
I'm Dan.
And I'm Matt.
If you have found us, hopefully you are subscribed. If not, please hit that subscribe button and the notifications as well. We update weekly, twice a week. But if you are new here, welcome to Picture This Film Reviews, where we are not, professional film reviewers. We are just three people who happen to really enjoy movies and love talking to each other. And really, it's kind of like unprofessional a little bit. We laugh off screen or we do whatever. But thank you for tuning in. I guess everybody, how is everybody today? I'm great, by the way. How are you?
Fantastic.
Fantastic. How about you, Matt?
I like that fantastic. I'm doing good. As good as I can be, I suppose. I was going to say something. Oh, you say we're not professional, but I defy anyone to go back and watch last week's episode and try to find your child that was in the video, because Matt was able to cover it up. Let's just put it that way.
Movie magic.
Oh, he's revealing behind the scenes.
Yes.
You guys.
You say we're not professional, but I feel like I should get an award for editing.
And Matt's skills as an editor are just going like skyrocketing.
That is true. We have to kudos to Matt because Matt designs like all of the thumbnails and stuff that everybody sees. And if you actually take your time to look at them, they are beautifully done. So kudos to Matt, who we are so thankful for and grateful for everything.
Well, thank you. And just for the record, I have no issue with your child being on the show. It's just some people don't like their kids, the world to see their kids. So out of respect for you guys, I tried to hide him or
we
her
appreciate it
when I can.
He's a wild child, so he's kind of like untamed. So if he does pop in, you might see a little bit of Reese, but he's everywhere all at once. But
I watched Dahmer.
Oh, you did?
Total hard left in conversation. I
yes, you did. Yeah, that was like, but it's a good segue. That was a good segue. Did you like it?
I loved it.
Wow.
It was a hard watch. It was 10 episodes, and each episode was like 45 minutes. So that sounds easy, at least to me. That sounds like, oh, I'll binge that. No, ma'am. No, sir. No, it was a stomach-turning, sickening, hard to watch, heartbreaking, all at the same time thing to watch. But I say all that in that it was very well done. I think it was done the correct way, which was to paint a light. Paint a light? We'll go with it. Paint a light at the victims, which, of course, you can't do that without pinning the light on Dahmer. And it's mind-boggling, which a lot of it I already knew. Jeffrey Dahmer, and I don't want to go down a deep rabbit hole, but Jeffrey Dahmer is a name that I've known my whole life. When I was born, a lot of that stuff was going on. I remember my parents talking about it at one point. I remember my grandmother at one point telling me Jeffrey Dahmer's the guy that kills young boys and eats them. Not to be too graphic there, sorry. But and then when I was almost 7 years old when he died in prison. So I was old enough that he was kind of in my early childhood. It was kind of a big thing going on. So I've always known the name, and so I've always kind of been interested as much as one can be, as far as like serial killers go. Like I don't like the term "who's your favorite serial killer." I don't know that I would call him my favorite serial killer, but he is the one that I think out of all of them that I probably know most about, probably because of that. But Evan Peters, and this is where I wanted to go with it, and I'm going to wrap it up on Dahmer. Evan Peters is phenomenal, as we all already know, but he's even more so in this. If you could give an Oscar for a show, give it to him, because he deserves it. And so I've seen the memes on Facebook, like someone better be checking on Evan Peters after Dahmer. Someone better, I hope Evan Peters got therapy after this. And they put that on there as jokes, but I mean, really, if you see that performance, it's almost like it makes you think back to like Heath Ledger that, was taking medication after playing the Joker, and we know how that ended. It does make you, going deep dark like that for a character, it could mess you up. So, I do hope that if he needs it, that he does seek treatment, because it was a great performance. And I know he's got Oscar in his future, whether it's for whatever, for whatever film. I know he's going to be very successful because he's already proven to be. And then this just, I think, might be the light that lets the whole world knows how great he is.
Have you ever seen Mayor of Easttown?
No.
He's in it. It's a TV show, but he won his first Emmy for that role in that TV show, and it came out last year or the year before. And it has like Kate Winslet in it, but he's phenomenal in that too. It's actually a little bit of a break from his usual like playing deep dark characters. But I think you should watch it if you really like Evan Peters. But I've heard a lot of buzz about the Dahmer show. I've heard a lot of him being an Emmy contender already for this role. I probably personally won't watch it, only because that kind of stuff, I don't really do really well with that kind of stuff. I don't. But I've heard a lot of not good things in the way that good things as far as production wise, acting wise, that everybody was top notch. But it's one of those shows that, it's dark, but unfortunately there's a story there that, and I'm glad it was told, from the victims, like trying to bring light to the victims, even though it was a tragedy.
There's one episode particular that will just break your heart and make you want to cry. Like you're sitting there watching Jeffrey Dahmer and you're crying and you're like, what the is wrong with me? Like, but that's how heartbreaking it is. And that's, I don't want to spoil it, but anyone who's seen it knows exactly which episode I'm talking about. It's
I've
so
seen
well
stuff
done
too. Yeah, on the internet about, I think it was like episode 6. They said
it was episode 6. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, trying to segue a little bit from that, we watched Heartbreak High on Netflix, which is also on Netflix. This is a TV remake. We're kind of like going, off the trail of movies here, but if we're talking about things we watched this week, we watched Heartbreak High. We kind of binged that. That was really good. If anybody's seen the TV show, the UK TV show Skins, it's very similar to that. And it was very, very well done. The acting was great.
Skins with a little bit of Euphoria thrown in.
Yes.
It
was very well done. The soundtrack was great. The acting was great. If you're trying to watch something that's like not heartwarming at all, but a little more uplifting than Dahmer,
I think it would definitely
that's your right
take you out of
direction.
that dark space.
That's the great direction to go. What else? There was something else I wanted to talk about, but I have no idea what it was. So I guess that wraps up our kind of weeks. Is there anything you wanted to throw in there? Because I don't think you really said anything.
Not really. I'm into true crime. I don't know. I share a household with Cayla, so I'm probably going to miss out on the Dahmer. But
just come on over. I'll rewatch it. Come on.
There we go. I just I want to put out that I know anytime there's a movie about serial killers, it ends up, or a TV show or whatever it is, that there gets to be a lot of it's sensationalized, sorry. And then, it's not something to be celebrated. And unfortunately in history, the name of, Dahmer that you remember, or Gacy, or whoever. And in actuality, it should be the victims that we remember. So I'm glad that you said that about, the show giving you more of an in-depth look at the characters who were real, based on real people, were real people, instead of looking, trying to glorify a serial killer.
Yeah.
And the big thing with that is there's a line. I know people try to understand what makes people do a certain thing. They probably get into that in that show. I'm not really sure, but definitely just keep that in mind, folks. That we just want to remember the victims, and hopefully their families are in a good place on what was portrayed, because at the end of the day, that's something they have to live with too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree 100%, and I think that, again, the show did that. Like I before this, I couldn't have told you any of Dahmer's victims' names. Now I could probably, at least from memory, tell you at least 3 of them. So I mean, it went over each. I think he killed like 15 people total, and it went through each victim, and it did that in a way that I think was very well crafted and very well done. So like I said, it makes you know them, and not necessarily. I mean, you know him, but it makes you know them. So.
Okay, well, I think that is going to wrap up our little weekly sesh. But we're going to get into what we're here for, which is reviewing 2001 Spirited Away by Hayao Miyazaki. Usually, if you're, like I said, if you're new here, we have a little routine that we go through. But I'm going to turn it over to Dan, who usually does the stats for these. And he's going to give you a few little stats, ratings, and also maybe a little bit of trivia. I don't know yet. So.
Discussing what we wanted to do on the episodes moving forward. I think I'm going to do trivia and like maybe a reel on Instagram. So if you're interested in checking that out, go ahead and join us on Picture This Film Reviews, and we'll put some trivia there just to speed along the process of the review.
That's very exciting. That's very exciting.
Yeah, man.
I feel like maybe if you drop at least like one trivia fact in here, like the most interesting one, which I think I know, which is like the most interesting
I think I'm going to let Cayla drop the trivia because she's got something picked out. But talking about the film, I'm going to go do my part, and I'll kick it back to you. We do have a 2001 Japanese fantasy film written and directed by Hayao Miyazaki. IMDb scored this 8.6 out of 10. Folks are Rotten Tomatoes and 97 out of 100. Metacritic 96 out of 100. So the critics absolutely adored this. Matt, this should be something that's familiar to you, as it is in the 1001 films to watch before you die, and is currently rated as one of the top, or the top, animated film of all time. Currently, that's non-English primarily. So, as far as the budget, we made this on $19 million. It had a gross worldwide box office of $346 million. So definitely exploded as far as return on that. I had a run time of 2 hours and 5 minutes. So Matt, how's that rate on your bathroom scale?
It's yikes. It's a long one. But I didn't. I have a strong bladder. So again, I don't know why I'm the one that got chosen.
Over here.
I don't know why I'm the one that got chosen to be the bathroom meter guy, but because I don't go to the bathroom really during any movie, but I didn't go to the bathroom during this. But the runtime is long, and I could see people having to take a restroom break.
Okay. So this movie was awarded an Academy Award, and one of the fewest, or I'm sorry, one of the only ones to have ever gotten it, as far as non-English primary. I know I'm just talking myself into tongue-tied. Hopefully you understand what I'm trying to get across. And as far as this, we're entered into a fantasy world where we follow a young girl 10 years of age going through a tunnel with her parents, just having moved out of their home. They're put in front of a bathhouse. Unfortunately for them, this is where the gods end up meeting, or the spiritual gods. The parents end up eating some food that was left out for them, turning into pigs, and it's up to her to save her family and try to get back home. So outside of that, Kay, I know you had some trivia for us that you wanted to kick out, so why don't you why don't you share your facts?
Okay, so I'm going to share two facts just because one I heard today, but also one I knew. I dug deep down in my brain and I was like, oh my God, I know this because we watched another Hayao Miyazaki film, Howl's Moving Castle. And it was kind of a little bit of a trivia from that as well. But the first one is so Christian Bale saw this movie, and this is what the movie, he wanted to work with Hayao Miyazaki. And this is the film he saw, and he was so inspired that he was ready to take any role that Miyazaki was going to offer him, which ended up being about 3 years later, the lead Hal in the English version of Howl's Moving Castle. So this is the one he saw and he loved. And then also, this is one of Nicolas Cage's favorite films. So Nicolas Cage, like, where are you? We could have plopped up on my couch, eating some popcorn, watching this movie. And then maybe we could have watched Howl's Moving Castle too. I don't know. Whatever you're into. Anyway, those are my two little trivia facts. They might be interesting. They might not be. Nicolas Cage, I would have never expected that, but okay. Anyway, let's get into the review. Usually I'm all over the place. So if you saw me in the Nope review, I was like going like, blah. That's how I act. That's how I think about things. So it's just coming out, you know? So I apologize in advance if it looks kind of crazy and I'm just like erratic. All right. Anyway, so we are wrapping up our favorite directors. So we started with Matt's pick, which was Kevin Smith, and we did Clerks. No, we did not. I'm so sorry. We did Chasing Amy.
No, we did not.
Oh, Jesus. Whoa.
Oh my gosh.
We did Jersey Girl.
Jersey Girl.
Oh my God.
We went on a binge
Yes,
because
we
of
did.
Matt's pick, and we watched all those movies.
Okay, I'm
so
sorry.
I think that's where the water came
Yes,
from.
that is. Okay. Cut that out because that was terrible.
No, it's fine. Keep it in there.
Anyway, we did Kevin Smith. We went to Dan, who picked Tim Burton, and we did Ed Wood. And I picked Hayao Miyazaki. So after we finished watching this, I was really thinking about all these directors and these movies that we have watched over the past few weeks. And I was thinking, wow, every single one of us have picked directors who not only direct, they write, they produce, they do all these other things besides directing. And we didn't do that on purpose. So I think it's wonderful that it lined up that way because I obviously we've all watched Tim Burton movies, but Dan and I really hadn't watched any like a string of Kevin Smith movies. So this was really nice to actually get directors who do more than just the directing seat and have a role in every single part of the films. So that was really nice. I don't know if anything will line up like that again, but kudos to all of us. So I'm going to pat myself on the back for that. Anyway, I picked Hayao Miyazaki because I've seen almost all of his films. I love the atmosphere and the worlds he takes you to. And these kind of worlds you probably wouldn't be able to be taken to if they weren't animated. But he does it so beautifully. So that's really what I love about it. I'm going to try not to get a little emotional here. These movies really remind me of my grandmother. And she was Japanese. So there's a lot of things that I see that he does in these things, like taking your shoes off when you enter a room or enter a home or something like that, or eating the rice balls. So watching these films or watching this film really teared me up a little bit because I miss my grandmother. And those are things that really feel nostalgic for me. And really are comforting to me. And watching this, because we haven't watched this in a couple years now, it's maybe been about 3 years. And it pulls at my heartstrings, and I think that's why I love this film so much. And also, I grew up watching these films. So, like I said, all of these things are nostalgic. Um, and and it's really what got me into animated things as a teenager and an adult too. Um, like being said, if you watched our other things, House Moving Castle is my favorite movie. So, the like I don't know. I'm trying not to get caught up in it, but it's very nostalgic. I love the animation style. I love the stories that are being told. I don't think you can capture them any other way except for being animated. But let me get into Spirited Away and what I really thought about it. I don't think this movie is really meant to be for kids. I think there are a lot of adult themes regarding like greed, compassion, pollution, all these other things that when you watch it as an adult versus a child, you pick up on these things. And I think they're trying to tell you that, you need to be more compassionate towards other people. You don't understand what they're going through. So like, why not offer a service or be kind just to be kind? Or like the whole river spirit that was so polluted with, trash, just to be kind to your planet, be kind to the things around you, be kind to nature, don't be greedy. And I think those are the things as adults and how Miyazaki was trying to tell you is, be a good person. That's what I got out of it. And no matter what, like you should never treat someone the way you Baba treats other people. And I'm trying to think of what else. Of course, there were 100 things running through my head, but like I said, I don't think it's aimed towards children. I think it's one of those mature things that you understand as an adult, and you see the underlying themes that they're trying to show you. And I think in many things, Hal does a beautiful way of doing that, especially House Moving Castle, when it's his message there is anti-war. It's an anti-war message. It's an anti-war movie. So all of these things, they're all adult themes. Anyway, I'm trying to think. Would I picture myself watching this again? Of course. I've watched this movie 100 times. I will probably watch it 100 times more. But I'll say it didn't feel, this time it felt more sentimental as an adult watching it than it has prior to. And I'll probably look back and think about that again, because it's really nice to have something to associate my growing up or my grandmother with. So I really enjoyed watching this. I will definitely watch this again. So whoever wants to, Dan, go ahead.
No. Okay. So I think Cayla kind of drew an interesting parallel between all of our picks, where the actors or the directors wore many different hats. The other thing to consider, I think over the course of all the movies that we've watched by each of these directors, different art styles, different ways of telling stories. None of the movies that we picked were our favorite from the director. That was something too. I thought that was kind of interesting. But when we did this, when Cayla said that she wanted to watch Spirited Away, I was psyched. Out of all Mr. Miyazaki's films that we've watched, this was my personal favorite. And I've watched many with Cayla from Studio Ghibli, and there was a lot that I didn't know about that was out there. My world in film was very closed, and this kind of opened the door to the world of anime. Since then, gotten really in depth in Demon Slayer and a lot of others that we just go on and have our own separate episode on about those. But with this film, it almost took like an Alice in Wonderland or a different feel into a fantasy world where a young girl is lost. Of course, she starts out with her parents, but they're, as Cayla was pointing out, they're greedy, they're gluttonous, and they're hungry. They don't care whose food it is, even though they can't find anybody. They don't have to check with anybody. And they just start stuffing their faces. Um, and it just is up to this girl to save her family. And it's, you know, she's put through a lot of trials and tribulations, what she didn't really bring on herself. It was something that her parents brought on her. And I think like the biggest, so this is something I just learned today, is that when the director ends up sitting up, he wrote this movie. He would write the storyboard and then they'd film. He did not know how the movie was going to end when he started to film. So as the story progressed, as it was filmed and laid out in front of him, he made choices that he said felt organic to the story. And he follows the story. He doesn't tell the story where to go. I thought that was a very interesting approach. And kind of like each of the directors that we have looked at in this round, they each have a different way of putting a light, towards a different thing, whether it was, Jersey Girl with Matt, whether it was Ed Wood with Tim Burton. Like each one painted their own picture, and it was based on things that they drew from their own life. And Cayla was talking about a particular scene out of this with the river spirit, which you don't know is a river spirit in the beginning. They call it like a slime monster or something. I don't know, but he had based that on the fact that he had in his youth had to help clean up a river, and one of the things they pulled out of it was a bike. So he puts that into the film. They all put a piece of themselves into, like, I know for a fact with Ed Wood, it was the fact that he had Tim Burton had a friend that was, an actor, and it was parallel to how Ed Wood had a friend that was an actor, and Matt, Jersey. Oh my God, dude, that's freaking Kevin Smith all over it, right? But each of them took personal aspects of themselves, put it into these films, and with this, Yubaba is like two sides of the same coin. Like she has a twin sister that's good. You don't know it in the time. I guess you could say she's good. Where Yubaba is the evil one. Yeah, she is evil because she's putting people under contract, stealing their names, and basically essentially making them slaves in a bathhouse. And it all comes undone or starts to be undone because a little girl, has enough love in her heart that she's trying to help a friend. And the only fault I find with this entire film is that in the beginning, the parents are rude to her, right? And in the end, she saves them. She gets them turned back to humans. They don't know anything that's happened. They've kind of like just lost it, right? And they don't have you know, any comeuppance. There's no, thing to change them, and they act the same way on the way out. I know the river spirit Haku says that he'll see her again or she'll see him again, and you don't have that at the end. It would have been nice if they had to cross a river that wasn't there before. I thought that would have been kind of a neat touch. But overall, I love the film. I love the world. It made me want to learn more about the characters, like the radish, that's dancing in the background. That reminds me kind of like My Neighbor Totoro. There was, a lot of the even No Face, like in the end, after he is given, it almost looks like a moss ball that she was given by the river spirit, and he ends up like throwing everybody back up. It's kind of the end of the story for him. Like he sits on the train with her, and then after that,
Well, I mean, he gains. I mean, they all gain friendship out of it. So, I mean, I think that was the whole purpose, is that no matter where each of them came from in different parts of their story, that they all came together and became friends. And I think that was the core of it, was that she was meant to be a friend to him and show him a certain place, and he was supposed to bring her to a certain place. So I think that was.
so just like Alice in Wonderland or Dorothy and Wizard of Oz, we're making friends in a fantasy place, and at the end of the story, we wake up. In the first two Disney, iterations, or we do wake up from the story. Here, she just walks out with her family. Doesn't really wake up, but goes out, and everything's back, to the way it was. And with this, I thought it was a really good way to end the director, rotation for us. I do appreciate you letting us watch this. But overall, is this something that I'd picture myself watching again? Honestly, for the impact it made on me, and just how rich. That's something I didn't talk about. Oh my God, the art style here, I thought it's amazing. It's different than really anything before this that I had ever seen, art style wise. Like they make it 3 dimensional out of 2 dimensions at certain points. It's just mind boggling how beautiful it is. And Howl's Moving Castle, I think, actually steals some scenes out of this, which I find that film beautiful as well. But awesome job. Love this movie. Love the director. Would watch it again. And Matt, I'll kick it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Dan. For those who were around long enough to remember, well, if you have been, thank you. But if you remember our review of Howl's Moving Castle, that wasn't the highest on my favorite list. So I wasn't sure what to expect going into this. I had heard from you guys, and this is one that I had heard about before any of the others. Like you could have, before we even started the show, you could have said Howl's Moving Castle, Spirited Away. I would have known what one of those two things are. So it's definitely got the recognition. It's got because it is, I think, so famous, so popular. Personally, I've never seen anything as original in an animated, or in any movie, but especially in an animated movie as in this. It felt like a fairy tale. And it's funny, Dan, you compared to Alice in Wonderland, which actually is way better than what I had written down. I said in my notes, the film throws us into a strange world that I can only compare to that of Beetlejuice or maybe The Never-Ending Story. But Alice in Wonderland and even The Wizard of Oz are way better comparisons. But we're both on the same wavelength there, that it starts out in the normal world, and then we get thrown into this magical, mythical fairy tale world. So it's weirdly different, but it's weirdly beautiful. I thought the animation was fantastic. It was beautiful. There was some scenes in this movie that if that could be wall art. Like it was very beautiful of a film. Let's see, some things I liked. Was it Chihiro? Am I saying that right? Chihiro's journey, I thought, from immature, kind of, I don't want to call her a brat, but immature-ish. She's like, I don't want to go. I want to stay here in the car. Like, to kind of becoming a strong woman at the end, I thought was great. I already said it felt like a fairy tale. I watched the American version. It was on HBO, and you had the option Japanese or American. I watched the American version. Just a little quick throw out. James Marsden, who, if you don't know who that is, he was really big in the '90s. He's a very famous voice actor, but he also was a TV actor in the '90s. He was the American voice for Haku in this. So shout out to Jason Marsden. Despite it being a little long, I thought it was filled with, great animation. The characters were very, very different, very imaginative. The music was really beautiful. I keep saying the word beautiful a lot more than I'm usually comfortable saying, but that's what I had a running gag, and when we covered Jurassic Park, I gave each one a word, and I would say that Spirited Away's word is beautiful. It's a beautiful film. Outstanding animation, funny, weird, scary, touching, all at the same time. This is probably by far my favorite film of this director, who I'm not going to try to say his name, but this is only like the third film of his that I've seen, but this is probably my favorite. So would I picture myself watching this again? Yes.
Very good. I'm happy to hear that. Thank you to all of you for watching this. I picked this because it was the most popular, and it's one that, with Miyazaki's name pretty much goes hand in hand. And I think this is probably one of his best works and what he is most noted for. So that being said, thank you guys. Thank you for watching, everybody. If you're watching this review, I think we spun the wheel last week. So it landed on, hold on, I remember this. Based on a true story?
Yes.
Okay. Well, do I have one for you? I guess it comes down to my pick now. So I've never seen this movie, but I've been wanting to watch it for so long now. And I hope this really qualifies for what we're going to watch, because we're going to watch it anyway, I guess. So we are going to watch, this movie is from 2019. It is Rocket Man. Yes.
Did not see that coming.
Rocket Man, based on the real life story of Elton John. So I've never watched this, but I've heard so many good things. Love Elton John, and love the lead actor. I think his name is Taron Egerton, right?
Yeah.
So I've heard so many good things. Really looking forward to this. This is going to be a cool category. It's going to like kind of probably take us into weird, random, all over the place kind of events. But that's what we're here for. That's what you're here for. You know, if you saw our Instagram post, you're probably like, where are they getting these movies from? We spin a wheel, and that's our thing. But anyway, I don't know what else to say. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for the subscribers and the likes, the watches on YouTube especially. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And as well on Instagram too. Thank you for following us on there. Thank you for like interacting with our posts. We appreciate it. Shout out to Dan. Thank you as always. Shout out to Matt. Thank you as always. Obviously the show wouldn't be here without you two as well.
Thank you, Cayla.
No, I'm not doing it for that purpose, but this has been enjoying it. It's been an oh my god, enjoyable time. I don't know where I was going. I guess Dan's like
rubbing off on
like mouth garbage is like rubbing off on me. Mouth garbage, you know.
It's what I speak is mouth garbage.
You were making fun of me earlier, but anyway, let's try to be professional here. Anyway, you know, we have a blast doing this. We get to watch different things all the time, and that's what makes it so much fun. Because like I've said 1,000,001 freaking times, if it wasn't for doing this, half of these movies I would never watch. And I've really enjoyed watching all of them and coming on here and spewing my mouth garbage. So thank you guys. As usual, any 2 cents from anybody? No?
I actually do have a suggestion. Maybe I could pop this guy's on you. I know in a few more episodes we're going to have to spin the wheel again. Why don't we open it up to the audience to see if they can suggest a category for us? Maybe we can get a comment. One comment on anything would be great.
Leave us a nice comment, please. No like curse words or anything we have to like delete. Do you want to say something, Matt? I don't know.
I was just gonna say maybe yeah, like maybe leave us either a comment, tell us what we should, because we just picked based on true story, so maybe tell us what we should put on the board on its place, or even we've got October. We're in October now. So, like, we do Monday bonus shows. Tell us what you want to see. Do you want us to review a scary, spooky movie? I know we're doing Hocus Pocus 2 on Monday, but beyond that, is there something else you want us to talk about for the Halloween season? I like Dan's idea. I think leave us a comment. Let us know what you want to see.
Yeah, and I'll try to put something up in our stories on Instagram. That way you guys can interact on there in case you don't see the posts. But yeah, Dan had mentioned, I think, in our Nope review, our bonus episode, that he's going to try to do some Instagram reels. So that should be headed to you soon. But like I said, thank you if you found us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, where you found us. Thank you. Thank you for watching. We do this for fun, but you know, it's really nice to see people tagging along with us. So I'm just trying to think. Usually we end this with Matt signing us off, but yeah, Matt, why don't you take it away?
Everybody have a great weekend. See you Monday. And of course, love one another.
See you
Bye.
guys.